Hi Ian, let's get this recipe search completed. What I've got at this point is a basic form through which I can search for my recipes, or rather pretend to search for recipes. The thing is, my code doesn't really search in my database. It simply outputs use search for and then whatever I search for through the form. So really, I want to search my recipe table for the search term entered through the form. And I'd like to make a function for that. We could call that search recipes. I'd like the PDO object $db to be available, and I'd also like the search term to be available. Now the SQL to search could be something like this: select everything, select all from the recipe table where the title is like search term. So if there is a title like the search term a user is searching for, well, that will be added to the returned result set from this query here. However, to perform the query, I want to make a PDO statement object, and I can do that through the PDO object using the method prepare. So prepare, that is SQL string, will create a PDO statement object, and that I can use to actually run the SQL code, which in essence will perform the search in the database. And to make the result returned from the database available, I can return the statement after it's been executed. I can use that to show search results. For example, all recipes equal search recipes with $db and search term, and then I can reuse an existing piece of code. I've already got a where is that? I've already got a list all recipes that will iterate through an object all recipes and create anchors out of it. So I'll just reuse this piece of code for my search. So I'd like to add to my search output whatever I get back from including my views / list all recipes.php. Now, one thing I'd like you to notice: in list all recipes, I need a variable called $all recipes. So in order to reuse this piece of code, I need to declare a variable called $all recipes, and it should hold a PDO statement object. With that in place, I hope I can find my tea recipe, and if I click it, I get to see it just like before. And I could search for coffee. That's great. I can see my coffee. Perfect. But it's not perfect if I can't remember how to spell tea and just write t and do a search for that. I get nothing. It would be meaningful to get me back tea, because t, well, it's a lot like tea, even though it's not identical to it. So I'd want to perform a search for anything that begins with TE, no matter what comes after. And I can do that with a wildcard character. That percentage character, that's a wildcard representing, or rather PHP should search for recipes where the title is like the search term followed by anything or nothing. With that in place, searching for TE will give me T and test, because both of these match the TE. TE and TE. What about if I forget the T and just search for EA? I'd still like to get T, because EA is kind of like T in many ways. Well, to do that, I add another wildcard character in front of my search term here. So the result will get anything that resembles the search term, no matter what comes before it and what comes after the search term. So with that, EA will give me T, and TE will give me T and test, as it were. That's a lot better. I could search for cough and get coffee. I could search for E and get T, coffee and test. However, inside coffee I'm using boiling water. What if I've forgotten the name of the recipe but remembered an ingredient? I could search for boiling water and come up empty-handed. Well, there's a remedy for that. I want my code to look not just in the title, but also in ingredients. As well. And now we're at it. We could look in description also. So this SQL statement will look in the title, ingredients, and how did I call it? Ingredients. Let me just check. Recipe site, recipe, ingredients, and description. So I want to look in title, ingredients, or description for the entered search term. With that in place, searching for boiling gives me back both tea and coffee, because tea uses boiling water and coffee uses boiling water. That's a pretty good search form here. There is one thing I don't like though. When I'm browsing through recipes, I don't want to click a navigation item to be able to perform a search. That's just useless. I'd like the search form to be available as I'm browsing through recipes. So I want to remove the navigation item and make the form available here. That's not too hard at all. Instead of including the search form in search.php, I could go and include it as the very first thing of my recipe page, so that regardless of whether I'm showing one recipe or a list of all recipes, I'll begin by showing the search form. I just need to concatenate the show one recipe to recipes as HTML. If I don't concatenate, this content will overwrite the search form. So I want first the search form, and then add after that show one recipe or list all recipes. also I wanted to remove the navigation item. Delete it. Let's take a look. So if I go to recipes, I get the search form. If I see a particular recipe, oh, boiling water, I wonder, are there any other recipes using boiling water? Let's search. There is, tea and coffee. So my search form works perfectly, even without a navigation item. That is a good enough search form for now. Perhaps it could do with a bit of styling, but I'll leave that all up to you. Thanks for watching.